Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on what your business needs in regards to your AI stack in 2026. I am joined by Brendan Howe, who is the CEO founder of Techify. Hi, Brendan.
Good morning. Oh, I was going to say good morning. Good afternoon. It's afternoon now.
Afternoon, 12:02. So we're excited to walk you through how to eliminate some of the noise. There's a lot going on when it comes to the AI world, and it can be a little confusing to know how to approach certain tech stacks as they relate to AI. And we want to make sure that we support you and not wasting your budget away silently, because fiscal budgets are important. So Brendan, we're going to kick it off, I think, with a poll, but before and an agenda. But before we get started, I wanted to walk you through what our next webinar is going to be so that you mark the date. So before you deploy AI agents, where do you want to start? So we're always trying to curate content that adds the most value to all of you. So our next webinar, March 25th from 12 to 1, will be a leadership level playbook for getting AI agents right in 2026, helping you eliminate some of the noise and make some strong decisions. Thanks, Brendan. Let's walk them through what we're going to talk about today. So what are we going to talk about?
Let's go.
We're going to set the stage. What's going on with AI in 2026? What are the 3 biggest mistakes we see in our line of work as experts in AI transformation? What are the 3 layered AI stack frameworks that we recommend? What we feel is quietly wasting your budget. I'm sure that's of interest for everyone on this call. What are the different pillars of AI adoption we have found to be successful? And then we'll end off with a Kahoot, just to make sure that you retain some of this information, and we'll have a prize, $25 gift for whoever the winner is. So we've got a lot of fun stuff going on for you. But we want to start off by checking where you're all at. So where are you at with AI right now? Are you in the beginning stage? Have you experimented and had mixed results? Or do you feel truly that you're AI experts and that you're exactly where you want to be when it comes to AI? And I'm going to guess that there's not too many of those if you're attending this webinar, because there's a lot of curiosity. But let us know where you feel you're at. And as we collect the poll results, Brendan, why don't you set the stage for what's going on in regards to the AI explosion today that we're seeing all over the world?
Sure. It looks like based on the poll so far that we have a lot of people that are experimenting with mixed results. We don't have a lot of experts, and we also have some beginners on the call today. So we'll try and mix together a little bit our feedback and our ideas, so that we address both parts of it. So here's the deal. Here's what's going on. Right now, AI is everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's giving their ideas, hey, did you hear I made a song with AI? I made a video with AI. I got it to do restaurant reservations for me. I got this and that. And it's all over the place. It's also all over the place from a business perspective. And so it's captured nearly 50% of all global venture funding last year, up from 34% in 2024. So what's that leading to? It's tons of money is going into AI. And you may have noticed there's a lot of sales efforts going into AI. So a lot of people are just being absolutely bombarded with emails and phone calls and people trying to sell them stuff. And it's leading to basically AI paralysis, right? We're all getting just like, hey, you got to use AI, you got to use AI, use my tool, use my software, subscribe to this, subscribe to that. But there's so much noise out there that it's really hard for folks to figure out how can we adopt this amazing technology? How can we really transform our business? And how do we avoid what we kind of call tools for fools? And this is people selling AI, it's almost like this snake oil salesman type of AI, right? It's like, hey, I got a tool, I got an AI tool for this, I got an AI tool for this, I got an AI tool for this. And what's it lead to? You just spending more money, recurring revenue, it not really changing or transforming, but it's enriching venture capitalists and private equity companies and stuff like that that have invested in AI. We don't want to do that, right? We want to help you avoid some of the biggest mistakes that folks are making in the AI world. And I think the first mistake is kind of what we just talked about, isn't it?
100%. I don't know, we should have put a squirrel on that one, chasing the bright light. What happens, the first mistake is people are chasing quick fix tools. AI in a world that has a lot of attention deficit, right? We have people are getting paid multi-millions of dollars to create technology applications to create addiction where people, they don't have the focus they used to have. So what happens with AI? They're getting more and more powerful in marketing themselves and creating what is the illusion of a tool that is going to fix everything. So what happens is people get excited and they think, oh, wow, this is the perfect tool for my business, but they're not thinking a little further in regards to what is that tool going to need to access in my environment? What are the guardrails? And we'll talk about that further in, but one of the first mistakes we've identified is people wanting the quick fix tools. There is a process for successful AI rollout. What's the second one, Brendan?
Yeah, and I think what that sounds like is people like, hey, I just want some quick wins. Can we just roll something out to make people see the benefit of AI? But when you do that, you skip the hard work. And there isn't, if you think about it from the perspective of we're trying to transform our businesses, we're trying to transform how we work, that's not going to be easy. You can't skip the hard work. We need to have the proper approach. We need to think about, hey, AI is not as much of a technology problem as it is a people problem. The technology is leaps and bounds ahead of where the people are right now. So we have to figure out, how do we get the people, how do we safely implement AI? How do we get the people to the place that we will start to transform? We still have humans in the loop, but we transform how we do things. And we can't skip the hard work. The other thing we can't do is we can't say the following.
Can't afford it. And you know what? I would say I feel very strongly about this one. I think you can't afford to not care. I feel very, very strongly about that. I listen to podcasts all the time about thought leadership, living and breathing AI, right? Because that's what we do. And at the end of the day, companies that are not creating the foundation for their AI strategy as AIs continue to super develop will not be ready to launch when all their tools are exactly where they need to be. So my call to action would be, you can't avoid to be in paralysis. You absolutely have to take action because AI is not going anywhere. So what does a strong AI roadmap look like, Brendan? Like, where do we start?
Well, it's a great question. It's what we get asked all the time. Like, everybody wants an AI roadmap, right? Get me out of this paralysis. So we're gonna take you through two things that I think are going to have a big impact. One is, what's a good AI roadmap look like? And then what's the strategy, structure, and people that you need to have in place to actually implement this roadmap, like and get the roadmap working. So let's do the fun stuff first. So what does it look like? We talk about 3-layer AI stack, or the 3-layer approach. The 3 layers are: layer 1 is your assistant strategy, layer 2 is your agent strategy, and then layer 3 is your custom AI strategy. So you're probably thinking, okay, could you give me a little bit more information about the 3 of these? Or you're thinking, yeah, I know this. Okay, either way, we're going to take you through, what does an assistant strategy look like? And here's the bottom line with assistants. Our recommendation to all of our clients is we should be rolling out these assistants all over the place. So Anouk, why don't you take us through a little bit more of what does using assistants look like? What are the kind of options? What are the platforms we can use?
Well, I think let's start with a heavy hitter. I think everybody knows the word chat. when people even who aren't really interested by AI know ChatGPT. It's really best for creative work, right? So it feels like you're chatting with a best friend, research and brainstorming. There's Perplexity, which we deem as a better tool for deep analysis, long documents, and compliance-sensitive work. Claude, which is known to be best for documentation and coding. Then you've got Gemini.
Also why developers everywhere are the development staffs are getting reduced and that sort of stuff, because all of a sudden coding is no longer being done by humans very often. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good. Gemini, good for Google workspaces and environments. And then Copilot for data privacy, M365 integration. Definitely last but not least. A quick point to support what you just said, Brendan. The podcast I was listening to this morning, the leader who was speaking about AI transformation had given her developers Claude for 60 days to do a pilot. And afterwards, the developer said, we won't want to work here if you take this tool away from us. So sometimes testing creates a lot of joy internally when you give the right tools.
Yeah, so let's give everybody some examples of how they can use these assistant tools. And look, some of this might be basic, but we wanted to make sure that people see. So here's the idea. Here's what we want you to think about. Okay, so on your roadmap, the first step of your roadmap, you have an assistant strategy. So you roll out, you pick, we're going to use one of these 5 assistants. Or maybe you're going to use a combination of 2 or 3 of them, and you're going to roll them out across the company. So then, what would we do? What do we use them for?
There's many applications that you can use these for, but right now we're looking at a meeting minute. I find this is one of the quickest wins. When I started working with AI, I felt like Christmas came early. This AI notes tool is incredible for capturing follow-up tasks. So that's one of the use cases. When you moving along, the other use case is you can always interact with Copilot and have it help you locate documents. So how many times have you looked for an email or a document? Copilot that is embedded in your 365 environment, when you have that full license, you're able to access those documents quickly. I want to say it saves you time, but I think it more importantly saves you sanity so that you're not looking for documents.
Yeah, look, another example, my sanity is saved on a regular basis because a lot of times I'm looking for passages of information within legal documents or other things that have created. So to be able to say, hey, find me this within documents is a huge time saver for me. That my company has given me this AI assistant that allows me to save a whole bunch of time, which is great.
Yes, and then another use case that's quite popular is support in terms of email writing. Do you need it to write the entire email for you? Not necessarily, but you can give it context, and right within your Outlook, it can support you in writing an email and then work with you on the tone or the way it's being laid out. So that's another fantastic tool to save you a lot of time when it comes to the laying out of communication.
Yeah, and a lot of these use cases that we're showing here are Copilot use cases, but they extend it. Like you can get ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever to write emails for you as well. Like there's whatever platform you decide. Like at the end of the day, this is like using web browsers to a certain extent. Like if you've got one that you prefer, go ahead and use it. As long as you can do it safely and it adheres with your AI policy and stuff like that, it's fine. So let's do, I think we've got a couple more examples. Let's whip through these.
Yeah, so I'm always a big fan of the support when it comes to creating drafts and saving a lot of admin time. What I often do is I'll create a Microsoft Word document and then I'll link it when I'm creating a PowerPoint deck. So there are a few different applications, but this one is just showing us the creation of a Word document and leading us to the next use case, which is creating a deck. The way people see information, like we put a lot of time when we create these decks for our presentations, because you don't want to have too many words, right? And so using these AI tools can really support you in laying out content in a way that will land with your future clients or your viewers. And that's just,
Yeah,
we're
and
just scratching the tip of the iceberg, Brendan, just the tip
we
of the
got
iceberg.
something for those Excel junkies out there too, right? You have a lot of people will have these big data sets and stuff like that, and they may not understand Python code and be able to code in Python. So injecting an assistant in to be able to get more out of your Excel documents is another example. Bottom line, here's the deal, folks, with your assistant strategy. A lot of people are doing that mistake that Anouk talked about earlier, which is we can't afford it. We can't afford to spend $25 a person because we have 50 people in our company. And so if you times 50 times $25 a month or $40 a month, depending on what kind of agent you're looking at, that's a lot of money. Here, let's look at it a different way. We pay salaries, we invest in our employees. So if you think about what's the average salary of an employee in your company, maybe between $5,000 and $10,000 a month. So we invest $5,000 to $10,000 a month in productivity and in getting results. So wouldn't it be worth investing another $25 a month to make these people wildly more productive? Doing some of the things, and we just showed you, what was that, like 5 or 6 different examples? There's like 100 different ways an AI assistant can make somebody way more productive. So for $25 a month, you can make them dramatically more productive. We suggest you do it as long as you do it safely. Okay, so let's talk about our layer 2 or level 2. Sometimes we talk about a level 2 agent strategy. So what is an agent? What's the difference between an AI agent and an AI assistant? I'm sure folks have started to hear more and more about the AI agents. So agents are, your assistants are, we just saw, it's like little bits of help assistant. You can do some stuff. There's a lot of interaction back and forth with them. Agents start to get more into workflow. Start to get more into either workflow or customization. So customization example, I've got a board of directors. I created it on ChatGPT. I want to get advice specifically from 5 or 6 different thought leaders that I read and pay attention to the kind of stuff that they have. So I create this agent. We created an agent for our HR team. So to try and avoid day-to-day questions about what our expense policies are and that sort of thing. We created this agent so that it lives within teams and people could just say, what are our expense policies? What are our vacation policies? How do I do the day-to-day kind of questions? So that's still very interactive, chat-based. Well, what about if you want to automate a workflow, or you want to use AI for a workflow? Well, we've got an example here, here's the deal. This is a very simple example. We do IT support, managed IT support, with the vast majority of our clients, we're managing their IT, and a whole bunch of them are now turning to us to help with AI adoption. So every once in a while, somebody will have an emergency off hours. So they'll want to call our off hours support desk. And so when they'll call our off hours line.
Thank you for calling Techify. Saving time.
Is my sound working okay there?
Technology for businesses.
So this is an example of
is being transferred.
An agent. So we're calling in, and you'll hear the agent. You'll hear the agent pick up in a minute.
AI assistant on a recorded line. How can I help you today?
Oh, hi there. I'm having a lot of technical problems right now.
I'm sorry to hear that. Can you please tell me your name and the organization you're calling from?
Sure. It's Brendan, and I'm calling from Techify.
Thanks, Brendan. Could you describe the core technical issue you're experiencing?
Yes. I can't seem to log into my computer. It keeps telling me that my password won't work.
Thanks for sharing that, Brendan. How many people at Techify are affected by this login issue, or is it just you?
It's just me.
Got it. Thank you. How long have you been having this login problem?
Just started, just this morning.
Thanks, Brendan. Has this login issue ever happened to you before, or is this the first time?
This is the first time.
Thanks for clarifying. Have you tried any troubleshooting steps so far, like resetting your password or restarting your device?
No, I haven't.
Understood. How urgent is this issue for you? Do you need immediate access, or can it wait a bit?
It's super urgent. I need help right away.
Thanks for letting me know, Brendan. What's the best number to reach you at if our team needs to follow up?
416-913-8998.
Thank you, Brendan. I'll notify our tech team about your urgent login issue right away.
So here's the deal. So this used to take, we used to have people leave messages. We'd have to call back. We'd have to get information. We were able to train an agent to ask certain questions, even show a little bit of empathy. If you noticed, the agent was concerned about my fake technical problem. I was able to log in this morning. And so we train this agent. We want to ask the following questions. And then, so what we've done is we've used AI to pick up a workflow and save probably between 15 and 20 minutes per support call. Some back and forth, in some cases half an hour support call, and created a better customer experience, because when somebody calls in, they get the proper questions asked, triaged on the front end, and they're not just leaving a voicemail in a voicemail box. Sounds like a nice voice, answers questions. I just recorded that this morning. Sorry about the choppy video. That was had maybe a little bit too much coffee this morning, but we wanted to give an example of a workflow. So that doesn't mean the whole process is done by AI. It means that part of still have the human in the loop. And what that agent is now going to do is it's going to call the off hours person on duty. And then if that off hours person doesn't pick up the phone and doesn't say that they're going to call the client back, then they'll call the supervisor, and it triggers it does workflow. So that, and it's smart enough to say, hey, if we don't get back to that client quickly, then I'm going to call the manager. Then I'm going to escalate to somebody else in the company to ensure that level of customer service is happening on an ongoing basis. So we thought that was a good example. So when you're thinking about your AI roadmap, think about, okay, how can we start to use agents for workflow? The other thing that we want to think about with the agent part of our roadmap is we have these existing tools, like you might have Dynamics, you might have Salesforce or NetSuite or HubSpot. A lot of the software that you have right now that you're paying for has built-in AI agents. And so we want to put those built-in AI agents into our roadmap as well, so that we're thinking about what kind of agents are we going to use in HubSpot or Dynamics or that sort of thing. How's that going to make part of our strategy? Then we're not just buying more tools and subscribing to more stuff. We're using the stuff that we already have. And then you get to layer 3, which is layer 3 is custom AI. And this is where we get into the world of custom development. And what do we think about with custom development? Usually, oh my goodness, it's going to take so much time and it's going to cost so much money. We don't want to do it. We'd rather just go and buy the tool. Well, that paradigm has changed, and it's changed dramatically in the last little while. And this is what has the SaaS industry generally kind of spooked, because it's now getting to the point with AI that we can develop so quickly and at such a reasonable cost that in some cases it's less work to develop something new using AI than it is to buy an application and configure that application. So I'll just repeat that. So the paradigm of buy versus build has changed. So sometimes it's faster to develop in-house and make it custom to your processes than it is to buy something off the shelf and then configure it. It's an amazing change. So as you think about that roadmap, it's level 3 on purpose. This is the more complex side of things. And you want to start with the assistants, and you want to start going down the road with agents, and then getting into the world of a little bit more custom development, which could still be agents, or it could be a variation of that on the AI side.
Brendan, just really quickly, just to add to what you were just saying, the reason our agent gives the user a good experience and is because the workflow was mapped and there was a lot of strategy that went behind creating her. And so I think that's a really important component. I was on a banking agent the other day, and it took everything in me to not throw my iPhone across the room. It was not a pleasant experience because the agent hadn't been mapped. And it was, I felt like nobody cared and nobody was supporting me. So I just wanted to put that people piece, Brendan, because I think that we often talk about structure fiscally, but how does it leave people feeling when they call our company?
It's such a good example too, because everybody, when you talk about like phone agents, the first thing people think about is exactly what you talked about, calling like Rogers or Bell and having this miserable AI experience and just wanting to throw phone across the room. It also made me think, Anouk, do you know how many times that agent has called in sick?
No. So what's nice, so a couple things that we find in terms of what's quietly wasting budget. So the first thing is you can have a lot of great ideas, but if your single purpose tools aren't necessarily tying into your overall strategy, they're not necessarily scalable, right? So we have Selby Coetzee, who leads our AI strategy at Techify. She keeps the soldiers all in line, right? So we use it a certain way and we have a certain ethic within our firm. So I think that's one way you're wasting money because people are doing it street style. The other thing is tools are being deployed before the foundation is built and before you truly understand the workflows that you're dealing with and you map them out. So that's a second component. And the security and compliance is so important. AI tools, their oxygen is data, right? They need your data in order to work. So a lot of times people don't realize that there's privacy settings they can turn off and they don't set themselves up, in my opinion, in the safest way.
Yeah, well, if you get a security breach, it will cost a lot of money and it'll waste a lot of money. But I think that piece that you're talking about, how much it wastes people's time, and time is money, right? So the less efficient we are and the more silos and stuff that are all over the place, it makes sense. So here's what we want to move from just thinking about tools, right? And so at the tip of the iceberg, we have all these different AI platforms, right? But as we look deeper, we understand we've got a data component, as you just talked about, Anouk. We've got a process component. We've got a people component. We have a governance thing. So we got to move from just thinking about AI as a tool to, okay, how can we get it adopted? How do we get this moving forward? So that's where we get to our pillars of AI adoption. And where we see success is when people say, hey, it's not just about a technology issue. It's we need to have a good foundation. We need to make sure that we run an AI adoption approach. And there's three parts. To make it simple, we've summarized there's three parts of AI adoption. There's strategy, there's structure, and there's people. Here's what that looks like. So our strategy, that's the technology and the data strategy, right? We have to have that strategy for how are we going to connect our data? Where's our data going to live? We have to have a strong technology strategy. If you're living in reactive IT land, if you're just focused on service tickets and dealing with fires and stuff like that, then it's not going to support an AI strategy, an AI roadmap. We need to identify use cases. So part of the strategy is, what are we going to use it for? So we've given you some examples to try and stimulate your thinking. So we gave you some assistant examples. We gave you some agent examples. We have to identify use cases in our business, which is basically what labor right now that's done manually do we want to have AI do? Part of the strategy, we need to build the roadmap. So we're going to use that 3-part roadmap that we just talked to you about a couple minutes ago and say, okay, what's the assistant part of the roadmap? What is the agent part of the roadmap? What's the custom AI part of the roadmap? And then we're going to make sure that there's a proactive IT approach. Because if you're not being strategic and proactive about your IT, you're wasting boatloads of money, and it's going to be a big blocker for AI adoption. So that's the strategy. That's the fun part. That's where I like to live. The structure, this is where we get our ops people in. We need some help. We need to have a structured program around AI adoption. So for those that live in the EOS world, will be familiar with a 3-month implementation cycle. In fact, you don't just have to live in the EOS world. It's basically any business planning, any kind of system out there looks in, we talk about it in quarters. So what are we going to do every quarter? What's going to be in place? How do we structure that cycle of adoption? So quarter after quarter, we have a system that's running that is leading us to rolling out more and more AI and starting to transform the organization. We got to have monthly training. If we're not training our people, if we're saying, hey, here's some AI, we're with you, win or tie. We'd like you to, hey, here's another way to look at it. Here's a bunch of AI. When you come in tomorrow, can you completely change how you're working and let us know how it goes? We got to train. We got to train our people. We got to make sure they know how to use it. Peers, user groups, making sure, like, ideas. It's happening very organically these days that people are talking about, hey, I used AI for this. I used it. Well, we can give a little bit of structure for our teams and allow them to share it. And then we have to make sure part of that structure is there's best practices, auditing, and alignment. So if you roll out an AI tool, the way that we do that safely is we make sure that the back end is set up properly, the security is set up properly, that we have the right stuff from a compliance AI policy, all that sort of stuff. It's kind of ticking boxes, but they're really important boxes to tick, because if you don't tick those boxes, it's not going to be good. And then, Anouk, you referred to this one too. Any of the agents that you put out here, you have to have the structure that somebody is monitoring them and training them. What if that off-hours agent starts to go rogue? What if she starts to say stuff that we don't want her to say, right? We got to monitor, we got to train, we got to make sure that she is saying the right stuff and that she's asking the right questions.
100%. That leads us to my favorite pillar, the people. We're going to go through 4 points, but before I go through them, I do want to say, I think the most important component of the people piece is getting your people to care and have curiosity. You know, we set up these presentations from a business standpoint, but that's a feeling. That's not necessarily a data point on a slide. And how do you achieve that, right? Is that you have to have intention. You have to have intention, and there needs to be ownership within your organization, or you need to partner with people who will take the ownership to make sure that it's rolled out properly from an EQ standpoint. So what does that look like? Step one is make sure that you have an AI transformation specialist. Why? That transformation specialist will be an important part of helping map out workflows and understanding how your environment should be optimal. Number two, a digital workforce manager. Right? So someone who's monitoring your agents, making sure that your environments stay safe. Number three, you want to have a success team. What's a success team look like? It's somebody from different departments. We always say you want a couple non-believers in that team. You want to get the team together. You want them to bond. Brendan was talking about use cases. Use cases ties directly into your success team. Think about meeting a banker and he talks to you in a very generic manner, versus meeting somebody who understands your life, what your priorities are, and what lights you up. It's the same thing with AI. If we're rolling out AI in a company and we're not taking the time to understand what our team's pain points are, they're not going to be as curious and they're not going to care as much. And then cybersecurity expertise. That is so important, right? These AI tools, they're changing every millisecond. And if you don't have a cybersecurity expert, making sure that there are no porous environments being brought into your environment, you are putting yourself at a cybersecurity risk. We see these environments, we live and breathe this world, and it is changing with AI. There's a lot of great sides to AI, but there's a dark side. So it's very important that the people be trained and that they be supported from the people standpoint and behavioral standpoint.
Anuka, I feel like we could almost run a webinar on each of these 4 topics. Like there's so much behind that, like how you put together a good success team. What's a digital workforce manager do? Like how's that relate to, hey, we've got these HR managers, now we need a digital workforce manager, and what does that mean, and all that sort of stuff. But I think you did a great job of giving a quick summary, and hopefully it makes people think a little bit more about their structure and what kind of people resources they have.
Yes.
All right, so are you going to take us home here?
I'll take you guys home. I'll take all of us home. So what we hope you remember today, some of the key takeaways. Strategy beats tool noise. Everything is noisy, right? When you live in big cities, there's a lot of bright colors and lights. Understand the strategy. And if you feel you're outside of your league, so get the support you need to make sure you have the right strategy in place. Focus on a 3-layer AI stack, right? So we try to keep it really simple so that you walk away with a clear idea on where to start. Make sure that you remember assistants depend on context, right? So what kind of gas are you putting in your car? If you're creating an assistant or you're working with an assistant and it doesn't have context, you're not going to get from it what you want. Know that there's hidden AI in your existing stack. So we call that shadow AI. People may not admit they're using AI, but be aware that people are using AI street style, and that can expose you. So we would all urge you to take a deeper dive in what that looks like in terms of your security and compliance. And then the last but not least is foundations drive real ROI. When you have a strong structure in place and you take the 12 to 18 months to get that agentic workforce together, to build your success team, to have that security and AI relationship merge, it just becomes a lot easier for the organization to be supported by this AI transformation.
Awesome. Okay, let's get some feedback from folks. What's the first thing that you're gonna do post webinar? So based on what we just talked about. Oh, I think we got a different poll that's popping up. We're asking for a rating of the webinar. But Hugo, I don't know if there's maybe there's a second question that will come up asking on what folks will do post webinar. But even if that poll doesn't come up, think about what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? And one of the areas you could go is we've developed a next step for folks that kind of say, okay, I'm looking to adopt AI, but I'm not really sure what to do. I'm not sure what to do, and I'm not sure what kind of impact it can have. So we created. There we go. Hugo's got both polls. So we've created something that we call the Techify appraisal. And we think we're pretty fancy. Obviously, we put the A in the I. It's an AI appraisal. And so the whole idea with an AI appraisal is to help people kind of identify what the potential is with AI for them and for their business. So we've created this approach, which is a guided evaluation of where AI can create value in your company. The last thing that we do, the thing that we don't do, is we don't go and say, hey, implement a tool, buy this, buy a Copilot license, buy a ChatGPT license, buy this expense software, and do this and do that. We like to help people kind of look through what are the opportunities for AI and how they should go about it. So we've got this process. We're going to ask, we've taken a whole bunch of folks through it so far. We asked 30 questions and then tailor a response to your business. And it ends with an AI roadmap. And it gives you a sense of here's what we think you should do over the next 12 months. Here's the deal. Because we've rolled this out early in this year, because we want to help people get out of AI paralysis, this is actually like a $5,000 consulting engagement that we're funding internally right now, because we want to get people moving on the AI front. And it'll lead to, we'll give you an AI transformation score. We'll show you where you're at. We'll give you an idea of your current state. your current state of things and how things are doing. And this is an example from one of the ones that we did. So if you're interested in this, I'm just going to go backwards. There's a QR code here. Please go to the webpage. You can sign up and you can sign up for our AI appraisal. You can always just do the old-fashioned way too, just respond to one of the emails about this webinar, or you can send a note to either Anouk, Hugo, or I, and you can say, hey, I'd like an AI appraisal. And so then what we'll do is we'll book a time to take you through those 30 questions. Takes half an hour to 45 minutes. And then we've got a whole analysis engine, go figure, it's an AI agent that will put together the data and the reporting for you. And then we'll deliver a whole boatload of value. Unfortunately, what we won't do in this process is we won't do a sales pitch. We won't try and sell you on anything. In fact, we've done some of them and people are like, so what are you selling us on? We're like, nothing. We're just giving you an appraisal and we're giving you a bunch of advice on how to use AI. And then if somebody wants to work with us and do that, then of course we will do that. But the purpose of the AI appraisal is to give a boatload of advice value right up front. So there we go. So what are we doing now, Anu?
I think it's Kahoot time. So for those of you who are online, if you can just go to kahoot.it, Hugo's going to share his screen in a minute. And I encourage you to find a fun name. You can do it on your computer or you can do it on your cell phone. Hugo's going to put in the PIN, which is 2049889. And once everybody is signed up, we will make sure we get started.
So a little competition, a little fun to end off our webinar before we let you go.
I think the Kahoots are one of the highlights of the Techify webinars.
All right, come on, people, don't be shy. There's a reward. There's a reward if you win.
Kit Kat. I love the fun names.
Yeah, we do these in our staff meetings, and people come up with all sorts of crazy names.
It's bringing out the child and adults, which is important. Enormous. The only thing I'm going to ask for all the participants is if you win. We have many skills here at Techify, but we're not mind readers. So please let us know what your real name is and email is, so Hugo can set you up with your gift, your prize.
Hugo, I think we should start. I want to see if AI Ignoramus is going to win, if they were paying the most attention.
And if you're in the process of signing up now, everyone, it'll add you, so don't worry. All right, let's get started. All right, question number 1. The speed of your answer impacts your score, players, so keep that in mind. According to the webinar, what big problem are many businesses facing with AI today? Not enough AI tools to choose from, AI replacing all employees, AI paralysis from too many tools and no clear direction, or AI being illegal in most countries? AI paralysis from too many tools and no clear direction. Like going to a restaurant and they give you a menu with about 200 meal options. Not easy to pick. All right, question number 2. Which of the following is not one of the 3 biggest mistakes we see as it relates to AI transformation? Chasing quick fix tools, skipping the hard work, waiting for perfect AI technology, and saying we can't afford it. It's what is not one of the biggest mistakes. Waiting for perfect AI technology. Nice work. All right, question number 3. In the 3-layer AI stack framework, what is layer 1 focused on? Custom AI development, agent automation, assistant strategy, or cybersecurity tools? See who's in the lead. JD.
Anouk, I think Marky Mark would be doing better if he had the Funky Bunch with him.
Yeah. I loved Marky Mark growing up. What's the key difference between an AI assistant and an AI agent? Assistants respond, agents act on goals. Assistants are cheaper. Agents answer questions faster. Agents only work in the IT department. Assistants respond, agents act on goals. Nice work, everyone. JD, you're on a streak. See that fire? Number 5, halfway. Which of the following is an example of where companies are quietly wasting AI budget? Training employees monthly, creating an AI roadmap, building a data strategy first, or building a single-purpose tool that doesn't, buying single-purpose tools that don't connect. Oh, everybody got it right. Nice work. JD's got a pretty big lead. Number 6, what's the core message of buy versus build in your AI journey? Companies should stop buying tools entirely. Every company should build custom AI immediately. Smart companies shift from buying tools to building over time. Buying tools always delivers the fastest ROI. I will say on this one, it is a journey. That's why it's a roadmap. Smart companies shift from buying tools to building over time. Number 7, I believe. JD's still in the lead. 2 more questions. In 2025, roughly what share of global venture funding went to AI? About 15%, 34%, 25%, or 50%? See, 1 more question after this. Nearly 50%. That's huge. Big number. JD is maintaining his strong lead. We have 1 more question. JD, let's see if you can take it home. Which of the following is not one of the 3 pillars of AI adoption? Strategy, structure, licenses, or people?
Come on, people. I'm counting
like
on
that
you.
image.
I'll get this right.
I know, I hope you get it right too.
We got a couple questions to answer too that are in the Q&A.
Licenses.
Yes,
Nice
we're
work,
100%.
It
Everybody
makes us feel
listen.
good that you're listening to us. Small win, small win. All right, what's our podium? We've got Kirk. We've got in 3rd place. 2nd place, we have Marky Mark. And then in 1st place, we have JD. Nice work, JD. Let us know who you are in the chat.
That's great.
All
Marky Mark disappeared off the podium for a little while and then had a late
back.
surge.
Had a late
Okay, John just posted there, so
Thank you.
we'll make sure.
Congrats, John.
We'll make sure you get your stuff. So why don't we do this? We got a couple questions, so if anybody has any other questions that they want to ask, otherwise there's a couple questions in the Q&A panel that we'll ask, and then we'll close out. Kurt had a question about if there's a recording available. All of our webinars get recorded, and Hugo continue to note there's also a follow-up email that will go out, and you can get a recording of the webinar. And then there's another question that's a little bit more involved that we can walk through. Dion had a question, bunch of different parts. So question, if you're a Canada Copilot with the functions you were demonstrating is $40, what other Microsoft AI assistant is $25? Please also speak to the data security and governance infrastructure that is needed to safely roll out this new software. And what are the typical costs for infrastructure separating the implementation phase from the maintenance phase. So Dion, a couple things. Number one, it sounds like you could really use an AI appraisal. So I would strongly suggest signing up for that because it will answer all these questions for you. For everybody on the webinar, a couple kind of quick points. First, when I talk about $25 a user, the reason I'm now talking about $25 a user as opposed to $40 or $45 a user is Microsoft recently has started to take Copilot and bundle them with business premium licensing. So when you have a business premium license, you can actually bundle Copilot, depending on what license you have, it actually reduces it down to about $25 a month in that kind of range. But it's important that you have somebody that's giving you advice on this, and this is where we talk about proactive versus reactive IT. Proactive IT will be giving you advice on a regular basis and can be talking to you about your AI strategy, your assistant strategy, and that sort of thing. Data security and governance. It is super important that there's an initial phase, and we didn't really talk about the initial readiness stuff in this webinar. We usually will talk about it, but doing an assessment of security, doing an assessment on permissions, and making sure on the governance side of things that you have a good AI policy in place. Those are some examples of things to do to safely roll out AI. Right? If you roll out assistants all over the place, but you haven't checked that your security permissions are up to date and that they're AI friendly, you could give access to information that people shouldn't get access to. Right? If you roll out use the free version of ChatGPT strategy, you could be helping train the model, putting private information into a near public kind of chatbot or assistant. There's a bunch of things like that are really important. And then the last question about the typical cost for infrastructure maintenance, that is really a business specific thing. If you're already in the cloud, if you've been running a technology strategy that's gotten you 100% cloud-based, and you're in SharePoint, and you've been using things like Microsoft Entra, and you've updated your cybersecurity, then your implementation costs are going to be much less. If you still got on-premise servers, if you've got a bunch of technical debt that you got to get rid of, then your implementation costs are going to be more.
I would add to that too, Brendan. It's also the scalability and size of your company, right? So if you're running a manufacturing plant and you're looking to roll out an agentic workforce of 50 agents, that's going to be a different maintenance than if you're an HR firm and you need 5, right? So the scalability of it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Awesome. We'll let people have a little bit of a transition to their next scheduled activity, and appreciate everybody joining. Appreciate the questions and the engagement and the cahooting. Anouk, thank you.
Always for me, fun. I'm always so grateful that you spent an hour with us. We're very passionate about educating about AI from an ethical standpoint and the transformation piece. So thank you for spending time with us, and hopefully we see you in a few weeks, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
From our team to yours. Ciao.